Today, I'm going to talk about
The avoidant attachment style. Some people seldom reach out first. When you are with them, everything feels close and easy, but once you stop initiating, they fall silent. This is not deliberate coldness. It is a protective pattern that keeps distance to feel safe. In psychology, we call it avoidant attachment. They are not heartless. They are managing fear. How it shows up is fairly consistent. First, they rarely initiate contact. If you do not text or call, they may stay quiet for a long time, even though they light up in person. Second, they are warm together and cool apart. The shift from affectionate to distant can be jarring and confusing. Third, they are fiercely independent. They value space, solve problems alone, and hate burdening others. Independence doubles as a shield. Fourth, they dodge intimate topics. When talk turns to the future or deeper emotions, they change the subject, go quiet, or pull back for a while. Fifth, they hold emotions in. Under stress, they self-contain instead of seeking comfort, which others often misread as indifference. No surprise their partners feel defeated and lonely. With an avoidant person, the highs are real, yet distance returns like a reflex. The push and pull is not a game. It is a nervous system pattern that started long before the current relationship. Why it forms goes back to early bonds. Attachment theory shows that a caregiver's responses teach a child what to expect from closeness. When comfort is indifferent or delayed, the child learns to suppress needs and go it alone. John Bowlby described how those early lessons harden into a strategy. Do not ask, do not need, stay in control. In adulthood, intimacy appears and old alarms switch on. To avoid the familiar pain of being ignored or shamed, the system creates space. There is often a second thread called fusion anxiety. It is the fear that getting too close will erase boundaries, freedom, and control. Set it beside separation anxiety, the fear of being left, and you get a tug of war. One part longs for closeness. Another part steps back to breathe. From the outside, it looks contradictory. From the inside, it feels like survival. So how do you grow beyond avoidant attachment? First, name the protector. You are not cold on purpose. Your mind is trying to keep you safe. Seeing the distance as protection rather than a flaw is where change begins. Second, allow needs. Relationships are not solo exams. Try a small ask. I could use a quiet evening together. I would love a check-in later. Needs do not make you weak. They make you real. Third, say it simply. Start with one honest line. I miss you a little. I get quiet when I am overwhelmed. I am learning to express. Small, steady signals build a new pattern where love feels safe. Fourth, choose safe people and steady rhythms. Look for partners who respect your pace, do what they say, and do not punish your quiet. Agree on simple touch points, on how to take space and how to reconnect. Structure creates safety. Fifth, be gentle with yourself. You do not need armor or perfection to deserve closeness. Practice small acts of softness, a walk side by side, sitting together while doing separate tasks, a short message instead of silence. Each repair lowers the alarm. If you love someone who is avoidant, use clarity rather than pressure. Name what you need without blame. Appreciate each step toward closeness. Keep your own support strong. Set boundaries with warmth and firmness. You are not asking for instant intimacy. You are asking for honest connection at a human pace. In time, you will feel the old urge to retreat and choose a breath instead. You will feel both boundaries and belonging. You will ask for what you need without bracing. Intimacy will stop feeling like a cliff and become a shoreline you can walk, slowly and steadily with someone who understands your rhythm.
Today, I'm going to talk about
Growing up without a father's love. When a father is absent at home, it almost always creates an anxious mother. And together, this raises a child who grows up sensitive and starved for love. Maybe in your childhood, your father was always too busy. When you needed him most, when you longed to feel protected, then he was never there. Or maybe your parents separated, and after that, he slowly faded from your life. Now, the connection is reduced to holiday greetings or polite small talk, like two people who are familiar yet strangers. As you grew older, you began to feel uneasy, even avoidant around your father. Being alone with him makes you uncomfortable. Even a phone call or a short message feels awkward and tense. You never share what's in your heart, never show affection. Sometimes even saying the word dad feels stuck in your throat. And when you see others laughing freely with their fathers, so close and warm, you feel a sting of envy. You want that closeness too, yet there is always a river you cannot cross. Slowly, those missing pieces of love push you into extremes. You might become someone who craves affection desperately. You dream of finding a partner who will spoil you, protect you, and love every part of you unconditionally. If he shows you even the smallest bit of kindness, you place your whole world on his shoulders. You cling, you fear separation, you dread loneliness. Your biggest fear is that one day he will disappear, and you'll be left alone again, carrying all the weight by yourself. Or you may go the opposite direction, distrustful of men, resistant, even repelled by intimacy. You become cold, detached. You stop responding to affection. Brick by brick, you build an invisible wall, locking your emotions tightly inside. You no longer open your heart easily, and you refuse to let anyone in. And in your daily life, fear and hesitation follow you everywhere. Before you make a move, you imagine every worst-case scenario. Because deep down, you know, if something goes wrong, there is no one to catch you, no one to protect you. The consequences will always fall back on you, and you alone. So you live in uncertainty and unease, as though you've never known what true safety feels like. But have you ever asked yourself, why did you become this way? Psychology has an answer. The distance between you and your father was never your fault. John Bowlby's attachment theory explains, the bonds we form with caregivers in childhood shape our patterns of intimacy and love as adults. For a daughter, the father is often the first important man in her life. If he is absent or unable to give tenderness, attention, and stability, then deep inside she may develop an insecure attachment style. There is also a hidden wound called parentification. When the father is gone and the mother is consumed by anxiety, you may be forced to grow up too soon, becoming the emotional caretaker of the family. You suppress your needs, take on responsibilities that were never yours, not because you were strong, but because you were never allowed to be weak. So you learn to please, to silence your emotions, to endure your pain quietly, always alone, caught in a cycle of longing for closeness but fearing heartbreak. It's not that you don't know how to love or that you're unworthy of love. It's that you learned too early. Getting close often means getting hurt. The closer the bond, the deeper the wound. So how do we heal the wound of a missing father? How do we slowly become whole and strong again? First, remember, this was never your fault. You did nothing wrong. You were always enough. The child who grew up in a loveless space was already doing their best, already brave enough. Be gentle with yourself. Embrace both the strong you who endured and the fragile you who trembles. Both deserve care. Both deserve tenderness. Second, don't rush into relationships just to fill the void. Your father's absence may leave scars, but it should not become the reason you chase intimacy recklessly. Before asking for love, ask yourself, what do I truly long for? Is it companionship, understanding, or the feeling of being seen and accepted? When you know your true needs, you won't lose yourself in dependency. You won't mistake fleeting tenderness for everlasting commitment. And finally, try speaking to your inner child. Find a quiet moment. Close your eyes. Return to that little girl, lonely, afraid, longing for a hug she never got. Kneel beside her, whisper gently, "It's okay. I'm here now. I'm grown, and I will protect you. You no longer have to carry this alone." And maybe you'll find tears in your eyes. That's not weakness. That's the beginning of healing. It's the sign that at last you're willing to catch yourself, and in that moment you finally start to come home.